Okay. Looks like we're back on.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yes.
So yeah, maybe we just tell them, yeah, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I don't know if Tony
Oh,
popped off, but we have a quorum without him. So I don't know if we need to maybe just send him a message and let him know that we're starting up again. But we currently have a quorum.
okay, great. So, all right, welcome back, y'all. Uh, I hope everyone had a good lunch. So now we are gonna continue our planning, with the as we go looking at the studies report from with the staff recommendation. So Stephanie, if you will, we can continue where we left off.
Sure. So the next activity, contractual activity is people first. That's activity 1.2.1. The staff recommends continuing this activity for FY 26, but lowering the budget to $20,000. I did make a mistake on the status report. I'm sorry, I wrote that they get 20,000, they actually get 25. So right now, currently, they get $25,000. So FFY 2025. For the past 3 years, they've left over a little over 6,000 each year remaining in that contract. So we just recommended lowering it by 5,000 and keeping it at, or changing it to 20,000.
Okay. All right, any discussion on that?
Eric has his hand raised.
Eric?
Did they say the reason why they? No.
That they don't normally use all the funding. Well, I think Miss Ashley is on here now. He can probably speak for.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Ash.
I know. She's
No,
so
that's
good.
okay. Hold on, let me open my laptop so my camera will turn on. Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
Okay. I do know that we will zero out the budget this year. We are sending several people to the Disability Policy Summit in DC next week. And we are also working with a group of People First members from our chapter in St. Charles on a project that we partnered with OCDD on through one of the co-occurring grants that we have with y'all, have had in the past, actually. And we're going to be submitting a proposal at AAIDD for September, and again at the National Association for National Association for Dual Diagnosis conference to have them come with us to present their work on the development of the wellness guides that are going to be a part of all home and community-based waivers And so I do know that we will zero out that money this year, for a fact. It'll be gone. And we just hosted our People First conference. We had over 120 self advocates come, and we had a great conference with a young man with autism that shared his story, and talked about how it's important for self advocates to get involved in the community by linking their interests and hobbies and likes to different like opportunities. It was really an incredible training this year. So I do know we will zero out that contract this year.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ash.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that being said, how much was it for FY25?
So they've had 25,000, I believe, for the past 3 years.
Alright, cool.
It's Eric and his hand.
Jill, Eric has his hand raised.
Okay, Mr. Eric, you have the floor.
They had 25,000 for the last 3 years. The money that they did not use, was that rollover money, or that was just money that was lost?
When that was lost.
It doesn't roll over, so each year we have a certain amount of money to spend. If they don't spend it, they don't spend
So
it.
that's money that they,
But you kind of sit there,
Yeah,
you don't do nothing, can't do nothing.
so that means it's dead money.
correct.
Okay,
Okay, so again, though they recommend lowering it from 25 to 20,000. So, and then Miss McReynolds gave an update on the progress and how they do plan on using the funds for the rest of this year. So basically, so now we can discuss what this committee thinks about all the information y'all just heard.
Eric has his hand raised.
Eric?
I know, Jude, you said I've been quiet 9 to 8, so I'm speaking now, out the 25, do we get a report on that every 3 quarters? How the 25 is being used?
Yeah, we do an update in the status report. You're able to see what they're doing every quarter. Kind of gives you an update on how they're doing so far.
So it's like I don't wanna say that. Is it a ball figure to us, like what is they using?
Like as far as how much of the money they've used so far?
Yeah, is that they capping out at the money so far?
No, we haven't provided you guys with that. We normally just let you know about if it's a training or something like that that they go to, but we can start if that's what you guys are asking.
Wait, what? Eric, can you repeat that?
I was asking that we get every 3/4 paper on how they using it, and is it a cap on that?
There's no cap on how they use their funding. They give us their budget breakdown. Kind of tell us what they anticipate spending at what time periods. So that's how we know to do their budget.
I understand I might be saying it wrong to y'all, but
Mhm.
what I'm saying to you is not a cap. I'm saying that we dropping it at 20,000, right? So in the day locking it at 20,000, and then not spending the whole thing, I'm just saying basically, where, how can I explain it to you, Brad, where you gonna understand me? Where is they just stopping at that part where, okay, we at a limit that we had enough where we don't, we just leave this in the piggy bank and we're not using it.
Oh no, they'll use it. If it's been assigned, they can't just hold it for a rainy day. They're gonna spend it and send us an invoice because they only get reimbursed for what they spend. So if it doesn't get used, it doesn't get used.
Great point.
Recommendation of going to the 20 is just when you look over the years, the average, there's about $6,000 that aren't used each year.
And that's $6,000 we could use somewhere else.
Potentially, yeah. Now, there were some discussions we had internally, like when we do the People First contract next year, of tweaking some of the language so it doesn't lock them into such specific activities, like specifically training or technical assistance, but other ways that we can help support People First, that we could start utilizing funding for as well, which would give them more opportunities to be able to spend that however much y'all decide to give them.
So what does everyone think?
Which one?
You gotta say it louder. I don't think she can hear you.
I think it'd be good to drop it down to 20.
I agree.
Okay.
You wanna raise your hand?
Oh,
Karen has her hand raised, Jewel.
it's Karen, you have the floor.
Okay, I just want to know usually what kind of technical assistance or training what they do. They just is what kind of work they usually do, and so when we consider the budget, right? Let's see if there's any different with last year or new thing for this year.
So they work with the People First chapters. There's I don't know how many chapters across the state. And they do one big training event per year at that they host. So they just had it, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when it was, but I know it just happened recently. They also, if a People First member, a member of People First, if they want to go to different trainings or conferences, like Ashley mentioned, next week is the Disability Rights Seminar. Is that what it's called? Disability policy, yes. That they are going to send members that are interested, and I believe it's in Washington, DC. So it covers their travel, the conference, and travel conference, like meal, like that kind of thing, lodging.
Okay, that's what she said, almost no more money remaining, right? Just this for this year's plan.
That they plan on spending the whole amount.
Right.
Correct.
We just give what they planning. So that's you think 20,000 plus the leftover 6,000, it should be enough, right?
So currently the approximate cost for 2025, the cost that they have right now, is 25,000 for the past 3 years. So that not including 2025, so 2024, 2023, 2022, they have not used all of their funds. They've left a little over more than 6,000. So our recommendation was to lower the budget to the 20,000 for this next coming year. That's cutting 5,000, but Ashley was saying that this year they have plans to use the entire fund. So you just have to take both of those things into account of how y'all want to do the budget.
Ashley has her hand raised.
Ashley,
Thanks,
you're
Jill.
recognized.
I'll be very quick. I think too, the reason why some was left the last 3 years is we were sort of still dealing with COVID, and there was a lot of hesitancy among self-advocates to get back to in-person activities, and they were not traveling to conferences. So we just weren't having the interest in some of these in-person events like we've really picked up this year. Like I think last year we had, I think about 75 or 80 people come to our conference, and this year we had 125. So I think just, it was a slow return for some out of fear with COVID, which I think did contribute to why, especially in like 22, 20, and 23, why we sort of left some of that funding on, on the table. So hopefully as everybody moves back towards like full in-person events, some of the hybrid options have gone away. People are really starting to travel again this year and want to get back to the in-person activities.
Okay, thank you.
So Jill, Eric has his hand raised and so does Tony. I'm not sure.
Okay, was Eric first?
Okay, I got another question, Jill. With,
Yes, sir.
even if we drop it down to the 20,000 and we see what we need to see, can it always be raised, or once we drop it, it's locked to where we drop?
Well, if we drop it today, then we have an opportunity to raise it when we meet with the full council later, or like in a few weeks. But then I think that that's locked in till October of 20. I mean, that would be in contract until October of 20. I don't know.
26.
27 really,
7.
Oh, yeah.
because this is the FY26 plan, so.
But it starts in 2025.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you're
So then
right, you're right,
October
October 1st, 2026.
So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying though, Jill. I was gonna say, just as a follow-up, once we set the plan, Eric, we won't be able to go and add money like halfway into the plan.
Right, I understand that.
But if we-
The contract.
Correct. Once they're done with the contract, if y'all wanted, I'm just saying, if y'all lowered it to the 20 and you said, oh, they used up all that 20 and they could have used some more, then the next year, which would be the 2027 plan, which would start October 1st, 2026, it can be raised again. Does that answer what you were asking? Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay. Tony, you have the floor.
Thanks. Um, like I shared this previously, I know we want a fair balance of what our issue is here. But the hopefulness and the desire to do much more, which we want to, we all do, in this specific subject. And it's not just for you, Miss Jill, but all the other, like Ebony and others, Mr. Breton. What do y'all think about? Is it like, and I'm just taking a guess at this. Like 3 or 4 times a year that we would be including everything. Self-advocacy, networking to be effective, to doing things in public, motivational talks, things like that. I mean, the more we do it and the more effective it is and the more resources, not just from the council, but other areas too, from, I mean, like I shared with all of you, I go to the schools, but I have to go through my parish, which I'm still doing, to make sure I give talks to teenagers, to my high school in Catholic High, where I live. I have to let the school board know that I'm doing this. But if we're more effective and more persistent in it, then once I get an actual result of, yes, Tony, you can go to Catholic High, your high school and other schools to talk about anything. It could be self-advocacy, it could be work-related, employment, whatever. And that's how I'm looking at that, to see of any effectiveness to broaden our topic of this. I mean, promoting, system change activities and promote self-advocacy, participation in training of other self-advocates in leadership areas. Maybe we ought to do much more than that, to where we all can do it all together, but also on our own too. That's where I'm coming from too. So I'm hoping that we could get an effective, more better way of not just me doing it myself, but then our group, like maybe have once a year, we could do maybe at least 3, if that's possible. This is just a throw out idea, but I mean, the more we do things and the more effective part of advocating, then we can really do like we're doing, like a live feed like this, but separately advocating or doing some kind of promotion of how to be an advocate. We could do those things in our hometown, but we would still have us here to come back to it. Like, what do y'all think for the staff?
Stephanie, your hand is raised. What do you think?
No, I just had a suggestion for this, for Jill, if you
Okay,
wanted to hear my suggestion.
yeah,
I'm so kind of taking what Brenton was saying and what Ashley was saying. I think that if we wanted to, or if you felt like they should stay at the 25,000, we can change the wording some to make it a little bit easier for them to spend that money. I don't know if it just gets bogged down in the specifics on there with like how it says the technical assistance and training opportunities. So, I mean, if we take this part out right here, it could say something like provide funding to strengthen. So taking that out and just have funding there. And then that kind of opens it up to just strengthen that self-advocacy network. And that was just something that I just thought of. That's why it's not on that recommendation. But I know Brenton had mentioned, like, if we keeping the specifics in might make it tougher for them to spend that money. I mean, I don't really know.
This activity, correct me if I'm wrong, Ebony, but this activity with this specific wording is one of our DDS mandates.
Yes, I was just gonna bring that up, Jill. Thank you. I think where we probably need to make some adjustments is in the SOW, the statement of work with the ARC of Louisiana, and not change this part of it. I would keep this part because yes, our mandate is advocacy, capacity building, and systems change. So any activity you all have in your plan has to meet those three mandates. So I wouldn't change it here, or I would recommend y'all not changing it here and changing up. We as staff can work with the ARC of Louisiana and People First to change up the wording in the statement of work to give them a little bit more leeway on how they can spend the money.
Okay.
And Jill, since I have my hand up and
Yeah.
everyone on here, Mrs. Ebony, if you ever have free time, or Brenton or any staff members on here, I'm more than happy to lend a hand because I know y'all have a lot on your end. I love to get with any of you to go through this the right steps of try to get as much out, because the more we do, the more effective this is. This is our voice. This is how we come together yearly, and let's do more.
Thank you, Tony.
Sure.
We will definitely keep that in mind.
In your free time.
Thanks, Jill.
So if you know me at all, you know I'm a middle ground person. So I think so we have 25. I don't know. Like, would we maybe instead of lowering it to 20, would we like maybe lower it? Actually, I love you very much. Would you maybe lower it, but not quite by as much, in like have maybe a happy medium? That was just a thought. I like in hearing Ashley talk and then Brendan talk and whatever kind of like meet in the middle somewhere. I don't know. Ashley, I love you. So, but that was just one suggestion suggestion I had was whatever the will of the committee is, and like I said, that like I wanna reiterate that whatever we approve today is just a suggestion. And then and then when we meet in May, the council could just could just could change it completely, but that was my suggestion.
Eric has his hand raised.
Eric,
Is this 25? Is it helping them run the program too, or just for to do what they need to do? I mean, like the office and stuff like that. Is all that in it? Is 25 or no?
They do get an administrative fee. All our contractors get an administrative fee. But the rest of the funding goes towards providing the actual service that we're contracting with them for. I mean, that may include a salary of someone if they are doing the training or pay speaker fees or whatever it may be, but. So they get a small portion as the contractor, you get a small portion as a fee for just having the contract and administrative costs. And then the rest will go to service provision.
Well, the chairman might forget her name.
Jill?
I'm kind of in the middle with Jill. I mean, if we can meet them. Ooh,
So,
wow.
Ebony didn't give calming. Like
And-
call out my name.
No, I was just reminding Eric of your
Oh,
name.
okay.
I'm saying with her, if we meet them in the middle, what would that put us if we meet them at the middle?
so I have kind of like two different numbers that I will throw out. So we said that they left about 6,000 for the last 3 years. So if we kind of cut that in half and say, okay, we'll just take 3,000, that'll leave them with 22. If we are saying the midpoint between the 25,000 and the 20,000, that's 22,500. I would say for my brain, I would then just round that up to 23. Make it easier on everybody. So I would say if y'all are looking to kind of like split it right in the middle, I would maybe look at around 22 or 23, one of those. And that's just my suggestion.
Like
Yeah.
Karen says she agrees. I don't know if you could hear her.
I think it's, yeah, we can try.
Thumbs
that.
up for me too.
Yeah, usually it's 3 years, it's 1 year,
Mhm.
it's so wrong, so we can try that
Yeah.
Yeah.
to see later.
So which number would y'all prefer, 22 or
Yes.
23?
23.
23.
23.
23,
23s have it.
yep.
22.
So
Oh, well.
if I could provide just a little, a nudge, if you will. So you're about 2 hours and 45 minutes behind. So
Jesus.
whenever you get into these debates of the numbers, I can appreciate it, but you have money you have to assign. You really need to get through the basics of this that you want to continue. Think about the new things you want to do, if anything. And then with the time you have at the end, you can go back and start deciding,
Gotcha.
you know, do you want to talk 30 minutes about $1,000? So it's just to keep you on point, because you're here until 4 and you got 2 hours left of your meeting.
Okay,
So
but I think that's good.
just wanted to share that. I think y'all are getting bogged down with things you probably don't need to get bogged down in at the moment.
Yeah, I drift. Sorry.
I
Okay,
didn't say
where?
Jill, I said y'all.
Well, I said Geo.
I can be chatty too, I get it.
How do you spell Jill? J-E.
ILL. You go,
Alright.
girl.
You ready to move on to goal 2?
Yes, please.
Alrighty, goal 2. So we're looking at activity 2.1.3, and this is the navigating the system with co-occurring disorders. The cost for this year is 30,000, and the staff recommends continuing this at its current funding. Anything you want to talk about with that? Or do we just want to move on? I mean, I don't know.
Do y'all have any questions about this initiative? Or do you need any additional information?
I just question, when they start this program?
So we started this particular initiative in fiscal year 24. So last year we had a different contractor. And that contractor, I'm not sure if she really understood what the council was looking for, because her particular training was very different from what the council was looking for. So we've contracted with a different contractor this year, and that's the ARC of Louisiana. And they've done work with the Office for Citizens with Developmental Disabilities. In this particular area, they've developed a handbook for parents and families about how to navigate these different systems. So we do anticipate that the turnout is, as far as individuals with developmental disabilities and family members, will be the numbers will increase this year, because with the previous contractor, there were a lot more professionals trained, and this particular training was supposed to be geared more towards individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to have a more idea about this kind of program, and they usually, I know the ARC provide a lot of personal services, right? A personal service assistant.
The ARC.
Yes.
They are a provider, yeah.
So they know a lot of people and families, so they have a lot of need. I mean, that's one thing, how that program become easy to reach out as more as people they know. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, yeah.
And they do them across the state.
Yeah, because I saw it's important to do this work. So I'm just thinking.
Jill, did y'all have anything else for this one, or did you want to move on to the next one?
Okay, we can move on.
So I'm gonna kind of lump the next one, or I guess the next two together. Well, actually, I won't, because they're on two separate sheets. So we're looking at activity 2.2.2, which is the awareness campaign for the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. The staff recommends discontinuing this activity. This was an awareness campaign, so they no longer need the funding.
Yeah, I kind of feel like or in my head, I don't know. didn't we kind of already agree that we, would get rid of that?
Yes, when we talked about the budget, I just wanted to make sure before Ash crossed it off of the activities. And so then it goes to the activity 2.2.3, which is, the actual training for the FASD for professionals and families, through, who is it through?
DCFS.
DCFS, thank you. I could not think. All these letters in my brain. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody, since we talked about it when we talked about the budget, if y'all were okay with me crossing that out, that activity. It was the one that was 10,000 and then this one that was the 40. And then, I think we're done with the contractual. So the last contractual one, is gonna be in goal 3. And that is 3.1.5. And this is the transition to adulthood training. Staff recommends continuing this activity. I spoke to the contractor, for this one. It's also team dynamics. Just to give a little bit of background, they sent out a survey and received, I'm not sure how many responses, but we got a good bit of responses from it because I have their survey results. And they have tailored the training to each region depending on who answered the survey. So they're giving 5 trainings. It was just like the ones with the highest amounts of people that answered the survey, that's the regions that they're doing the trainings in. And then depending on what activities that they were interested in learning more about, that's what those trainings are on in those specific places. I spoke to the contractor and asked them again, like, what would your ideal budget be for this and what could you do with that budget? So they said that for them, they would like to continue this, and expand the program to include a couple more trainings. They gave a list of some that they would, like to do, which are building independent living, so daily life and household management, developing healthy and safe social skills, exploring higher education and vocational training opportunities, understanding self-advocacy and legal rights, and then planning for the future, housing and long-term supports. Those are ones that they would like to, trainings that they would like to include within the next fiscal year. In order to do that, they are asking for 58,000. So that's 16, right?
16, yeah.
Come on, math, all these numbers. $16,000 increase to develop.
Word teacher.
I know, and I was a math teacher. Oh, put me on the spot here. So they are, their ask was 58,000 to expand those programs to include those trainings. And, that would be like developing the trainings and getting, someone, like, kind of like what Brenton was saying earlier, having that expert help write those trainings, put them on, reserve the space, those kinds of things. That is what that would cover. So, that was their ask. So I'm just putting it out there.
This is the transition to adulthood.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, Cool. Okay, so what is the will of the committee? Good.
And
On a wheel.
I know, and not to sway either way, just letting you know. Even if we were to, and I can show this in a second, let me just type it in. If you were to increase to what they are asking, even with this.
What are they at? Oh,
58,000. So with the changes that like the budget changes so far, we still have right under 100,000 to spend. You have 93,000. So that includes the decrease for people first, the increase for the abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and then that increase for transition to adulthood. And that is their full amount for the ask for those two. If y'all were to increase it there, you still have this amount. And we can always go back and change it if we needed more for a different activity. I'm just letting y'all know, y'all still have a good bit of money.
so. Okay, hold on.
So. How's they doing with what? I know y'all probably saying he asking these questions like this. How's they doing with what they have? They got a good bit of chunk down already.
So they had their first training last Thursday. Maybe this Thursday. I don't remember. But they just started their trainings. They do 2 trainings per area. And I want to say there's 5 or 6 areas. I don't remember. It might be 6 because we asked them to do an additional one. Regions. When I say areas, I mean regions. So they do 2 of the topics per place, depending on what that area said that they were interested in. So I know like when they come to Baton Rouge, which I think they come in 2 weeks or so, they are doing one on financial literacy and one on healthy habits, like going to see the doctor, when should you go, what kind of annual exams do you need to take, what does a healthy plate look like? Making healthy choices like that. And then the financial stuff is like how to use the ATM machine, how to talk to a bank teller, things that are important. So as for turnout, I haven't gotten their report for March yet, so I don't know because it's not due until the 10th. So I don't know what the turnout looks like yet, but I should have some numbers for the council meeting. But it had a lot of good, like they had people registering and really good feedback for it.
So if the council if no, if for FY25 we had 42,000. So the contractor is asking for 58 thousand. How I got 47,200? That can't be right.
I don't know what you're trying to do. What are you trying
If
are you trying to find like a middle number?
I'm trying to find, if we add $58,000 to the $42,000, how much would that make our total?
Okay, wait, hold on.
No.
No. They're only asking, their total that they're asking is 58.
Oh, shoot.
Not 58 additional. So what am I doing here?
It would be
Uh,
16 additional.
It would be 16,000 additional. So they're asking for a total of 58,000
Mhm.
in order to add and expand for next year.
My thing,
Eric, are you okay?
yeah, I'm fine. I'm just chewing on something down here because you asking for 16,000, right? You already got,
Oh,
42.
42.
Mhm.
Ain't we already doing are we doing the same thing with somebody else with this too?
This kind of training or?
Yes.
Oh, no. So they're doing a variety of trainings. So they're providing trainings on, and this is not inclusive, financial literacy, health, waivers, employment, voting. I was just looking at the topics that they're covering. That in the newsletter that we sent out, they're doing health and well-being, enhanced financial literacy, navigating waivers, civic engagement, preparing for employment. So I will say this, last year when you guys dedicated that $42,000 for this particular activity, it was the money that y'all had left over. And so I think this particular training is worth about what they're asking for. And the only reason y'all didn't give them more money last year was because this is the only funding y'all had available after y'all funded everything else. So I think it's well worth this $58,000 for them to provide all of these trainings on all of these different topics, in addition to the stuff that they named that they wanted to include, they wanted to add, which is the building independent living skills, developing healthy and safe social skills, exploring higher education and vocational training opportunities, self-advocacy and legal rights, and then planning for the future. And that includes housing, which we know is a huge topic here in Louisiana, because there's not a lot of affordable, accessible housing in Louisiana, and then long-term supports. So these are a variety of topics that they are creating the trainings for, the materials and all of that. And I think this is well worth that 58,000, because again, this is all y'all had left last year, was to give them that $42,000. That was all y'all had. I think this particular activity is well worth that amount of money. That's just my recommendation to the committee.
Yeah, I agree. I think this work is very important. They give the information very important for the disability, the transition. I just wonder how they usually just make a workshop, or how they do the training. They just do the workshop, or
I am not sure. They have interactive trainings. So I know that they have different activities throughout, but their last training was out of town, so I couldn't go. So when they come to Baton Rouge, I will go and kind of see it myself to see, what they do. But they have advertised and wanted to make sure that we knew and we let anybody know that it's an interactive training. It's interactive workshops. It's not just sitting and watching a PowerPoint. There are things to do throughout. I know they bought some little like manipulatives. So one of the things that they bought was fake money. Yeah. So that they could talk about like counting money, writing out a deposit slip on. So I know
Balancing a
that
checkbook.
balancing a checkbook, yeah. So I know that they have included like hands-on activities in the trainings, and the trainings that they have, I feel like I don't want to say that they're long and I don't want to say that they're short. They're an hour and a half, but it's activities throughout broken up as well as a visual PowerPoint. And they get like a little notebook, like little worksheets and a little thing, so.
So I just wonder how we can get the leads, I mean, all the individual with the intellectual and developmental disabilities, just that kind of people, we should have the kind of people like name list from OCDD or somewhere, right? Usually we can get because.
Are you saying like a list?
Right.
Oh, yeah. So the council has their own listserv where people are signed up to receive our newsletter.
That kind of statistics for like the numbers and how many people usually in Louisiana, I mean, how many people in disability in this kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
You have that, right? That like so we just have a base number roughly, like how many people have that kind of disability, have that.
We have a number of like how many people receive waiver services,
Right, just
but we don't have like
um,
a number for if they don't get services. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Isn't that correct? Like if they
Yeah, I mean,
receive-
the only number that we have as far as like identifying individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities is like the national average. So I think the national average is it might be 2% or something. So we would take the population in Louisiana
right.
and multiply that by the 2% to get the number of people with developmental disabilities according to that statistic. But that's not by age or, that we don't have any other demographics to identify those individuals. Because I would say that these trainings are geared more towards adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Yeah, I think the lot of training program, they are good, but I just wondered how they work usually. If they have the basic, the numbers of people, like how they distribution of some errors, maybe some error more, maybe some error not that much, right? So they can develop a program or training just plan to more can focus target the people. I think maybe more effective or just consider that, not just really directly related to the budget, but just if they can do that kind of work, maybe more just even effective and more,
I think that's
helpful.
the struggle right now is trying to figure out how to target the people that we're not reaching,
Right, if just they may just some people come, but maybe just like 20s or 30, but it's still very limited. And it looks the work just keep repeating every year. It's still just consider how to make that more powerful, effective. That's what I just think about that. So.
Yeah, I thought we had somebody, he was doing somebody with this already. And we're not, but if we're not, then that would be that work, because I didn't want us to be doing somebody on top of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can't duplicate. Yeah.
And Jill, I don't know if y'all want to, like, if y'all have any more discussion about the budget for this one. But if not, then that is the contractual stuff for continuing. And we can go into if y'all wanted to add any new activities.
Okay.
But however, I mean, you're the chair, so you tell me.
What?
I said, you're the chair, you tell me.
I'm not sure it's Stephanie. So we're done with contract. Wait, the first thing we need to make, or whatever we're doing, but like, what does everyone feel about this contract and the staff recommendations? Because I'm okay, like, because these topics seem very important, and I mean, like, $16,000 is not really a whole lot to increase it by. So what do y'all think about this particular staff recommendation?
Vivian has her hand raised.
Vivian?
For 2.1.2, the staff recommends either discontinuing the activity or to continue the initiative. You have to do a contract with an outside entity to develop the educational program for sexual education. Do we have like a brainstormed list of ideas on who this contract could be? Because it's an important topic.
Yes, I have some information about that, that we can talk about. I just want to make sure that we have this last one
Okay.
before if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that in a second, Vivian, but we just need to, like I said, decide what our recommendations for activity 3.15 is. And I just wanna why can't I talk? Reiterate what Ebony said, that this seems like important topics and a good use of 1,600. So did I write this right? $16,000 increase?
That's correct.
Okay, so what do y'all think of the staff recommendation for 3.1.5? My mic off.
It's on, we can hear you.
Do you have any thoughts on, this one, increasing it to the 58,000?
Yeah. I think, yeah, we can change it to what, 16? That was 16?
Oh, increase it to the 16,000?
Make it 58.
Okay.
Yeah, increase it to the 16,000. Cause they not really to see what the programs that they doing. it is a lot of programs they doing that's really needed, yeah.
Okay. The last thing that I will,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Karen has a
oh
question.
no, I didn't realize, I'm sorry.
Just one more question. Usually how you evaluate the result, what they did? They give a report every time? or-
So they give a report every month, to
Every
tell us
month?
like what they did, how their
Oh.
training was, how many people attended.
Okay.
They have their invoice, they have a lot of documentation that they turn into us. And then at the council meeting, we include that in our status report. It's a little bit condensed down. So it just includes like the important information, how many people were at trainings, how many they've done, things like that. So that way the council can also keep track of where that money's going and if it's being used, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree because this is important.
I was just gonna say, if everybody was done talking about this one, the last thing that I just wanted to point out was, I know we talked about kind of at the beginning, the recommendations from the council for the two goals. There's also some additional staff recommendations at the end of the, status report, that I can show really quick. Always forget. Okay. So I just included them here at the end. I know it's kind of small, but these were just some additional staff recommendations for activities, if you needed activities. Contracting to create flyers and plain language for preventative screenings for women. I know that our targeted disparity has to do with women's health, so this could be a contract that is written for that. And then we tried to come up with some stuff that was in kind of education and employment. Those are the places that I feel like we have not as many activities and it's such an important area. So we said creating a virtual guide for education, including a general who to contact for what, training for the special education complaint process, how to create a complaint, the process after sending in a complaint, an awareness video, short commercial, and the benefits of becoming a special educator, and kind of the same thing, but for a voc rehab counselor, since there was a lot of discussion about LRS and their high caseload. That was a way that we felt that we could get at least put it out there to the public, and then creating a virtual guide for employment, including a general like LRS information. So those are just some of the additional staff recommendations that, when we talked, that's what we looked at, and then taking into account the recommendations from the committees. With a reminder that a lot of the ones in the education are already being, like the responsive actions that's already being addressed. Promote inclusion in education, we have a activity, I think, that says something about inclusion in education, but I'll check and make sure. And then we spoke about the advocating for the more LRS services or more services through LRS due to the high caseloads, about possibly that being a legislative activity and not really for the plan. So I just wanted to get all that information out there before we started talking about possibly different activities that y'all wanted to include. I'm gonna switch it back. There it is. Okay.
Okay, so they use Stephanie, the thing, and I don't know if we're here or if I'm out of order or what, but contract to create flyers for preventative screening for women that does align with the recommendations from the council that says preventative screenings for women's health provider focus accessible. That meant what?
I know it, so my commas are missing. I'm sorry. So I was trying to take notes while they were talking about it. So it's just preventative screenings for women's health, and they want it to be provider focused and accessible.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So, in goal 2, health is our a goal for goal 2 is health. So I'm thinking that maybe those, oh, they are two separate. They are two separate or activities, or yeah, but they do
So,
also go hand in hand.
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. We have a separate objective for this one. This is our targeted disparity objective. So it's a disadvantaged population, so specifically females with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so right now, the activity that we have is activity 2.3.1. So 2.3.1 currently says collaborate with the Louisiana Department of Health to address accessible educational materials on women's health topics. If you look at your planning status report, we do have a recommendation for rewriting this activity. And the thing that I will say is that if we do, or if you accept this recommendation from the staff, then funding does need to be allocated for it. So I'll put up what the recommendation is, because I don't. What am I doing? Okay. The recommendation is, or this is just what we came up with. So if y'all don't like wording or anything like that.
Maybe we should keep it consistent and say financial support. I'm just looking.
Okay.
Like with the other activities, yeah.
However, or whatever, whoever, how much money do we have on the table?
$93,000 left.
Okay, cool, thank you.
So the part that's in bold right now, that is the staff's recommendation for how, like, to change this activity, the rewording of it to include funding. And then that would kind of, encompass if we wanted to, the plain language, like, stuff that was at the, I don't remember how we had that worded. The plain language flyers for preventative screening, so like that could fall into there. But it could be any kind of accessible educational material. So if LDH or the Office of Women's Health were to put out like a flyer, just being able to use that funding to make that flyer plain language, so it's more accessible.
Okay. So what do y'all think, guys?
So far, so good.
Should we put preventative health topics? I mean, I'm just looking at the word.
Women's preventative health topics?
Yeah, since the recommendation from, I guess, the SDCI committee was the preventative screenings.
It gives it more more of a useful description.
So that would be just changing this. If y'all wanted it, and then, since it's since it is providing that, like providing financial support, it would be, there would need to be funding. After lunch, y'all, my brain, it's like not working anymore.
Hello, ET phone home.
Yeah.
Hurry home.
Let's see. So just for, I mean, I don't know, just as an example, for currently, the, plain language contract that we have right now, I don't remember how much it is, but I can check because it's mine. I think it might be 25. So we can kind of base it off of that if you would let, I mean, if you need to, just so you know, like how much the amount is.
Well, that's
Waiting for my
also
stuff
just
to
for
come
that
up.
contractor
21.
to review things that have already been developed and put it in plain language.
Yes. So currently for the plain language for our website and any documents on our website, it's 21,000. So that's the amount that, that we are paying for a plain language person right now. So I don't know, just to give y'all an example of how much it could possibly cost. It's also, I don't know how many documents would come out, how many flyers. That could change, so I really don't know.
And is this the intent to get someone to create these materials, or are we trying to figure out who, like, has the Department of Health already created? And we're just translating them into plain language, I guess is the question.
And I guess that's
That might
a
determine how
committee,
much.
yeah. So that's a
Yeah.
committee decision, like if we needed someone to actually create them, then you want to make sure that whoever's creating them has the expertise and the background
For that information.
but then can also make it plain language. If it's something that already exists and then it's just being changed to plain language, like that is what we are currently doing with our website, is this stuff exists already, they're just writing it as a plain language version to make it more accessible. But if it was a creation thing, I would say it'd probably be more, because you need to make sure that they have to create it.
Yeah.
You gotta find the right person for it. So just some things to think about when we talk about the budget. So I guess that's kind of what what do y'all think? Would this be somebody that's taking existing information? Or would you want someone to create?
New materials.
So I guess like instead of this address, it would be to create accessible educational materials.
Yes.
Because I don't know if they exist yet or what they look like.
Creating is more of a better exception to this rule.
Whoa, everyone's talking at once. Vivian, did I hear your voice?
Yeah, I said yes.
Okay. Eric,
Yes, ma'am.
did you say something?
They're just looking up papers right now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Haven't created any materials and we haven't put any materials into plain language for women's health. So the council recommended that you guys look at doing preventative health topics on women's health. And so right now what the discussion is if you guys want to contract with someone like we're doing for the website and just using materials that have already been created and they make that into a plain language version so it's more accessible, or if you guys want to contract with someone who makes the materials themselves. It's not something that's already created, they would have to create it.
I truly think we should create our own.
Yeah.
Somebody else create.
So would y'all want to sort of read like this, provide financial support to create and address accessible educational materials on women's preventative health topics? Or just, I don't know, what do y'all think? Is that too wordy? Should I get rid of the and address? I don't know.
Provide.
Could do create and promote.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's good.
I like that.
That's direct to the person.
Oh, I'm tired because I read the word margaritas and then definitely says materials.
We can add that in there if you'd
Yeah.
like.
I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere,
You'd
huh?
have to get creative on the reporting process.
Right.
Really,
Yeah,
I mean,
you're kidding.
So I just want to make sure I'm explaining stuff. So if y'all get someone to create the materials, which sounds like that's what y'all leaning towards. Stephanie's saying that we're paying right now $21,000 for someone to look at the documents that we already have created on our website and turn those into plain language. Those are already created. So if you're getting someone to create documents, you're gonna need a little bit more probably than that 21,000. You're looking at a little bit more. And remember, you guys have $93,000 to work with.
Okay.
So,
I mean, there's also probably going to be a graphic component on this, right?
right.
So if they're creating, it's more than, well, we would have to be specific based on what they could do with the money that you provide, right? So
Yes.
we have to send out or ask for proposals, because we're gonna need an expert. We can't produce these materials for you. We're not doctors and things like that. But yeah, is there a graphics component? Are they creating just the language, or are they creating the whole visual marketing?
Are they creating the
strategy, like,
flyer?
yeah.
So you're saying it needs to be more money on the table if we get somebody.
To create the documents, yes, because right now you guys are paying like around $21,000 just for someone to take documents that we've already created, like your bylaws and your policies and procedures. He's turning those into plain language versions, and all that's costing about 21,000. Yeah.
It's also the whole website. It's not
It's
just, it's a lot.
not just those documents, it's the
It's our
entire
whole
website. Yes.
So, and that was kind of the,
A lot of. Away.
It's a lot of documents. It's the whole website, the council's whole website.
And so I did want to mention that also, he's doing it for about 20,000. But it includes, I mean, a ton of stuff. Now, if we're having somebody create and promote these materials, and this is a side conversation, like for staff or even maybe for y'all, but like, what materials are we looking for? How many are we gonna have them create? Because if they're let's say that we put in that they have to create 5. I just came up with a number, y'all, that's not set in stone. 5. So if we say 5, you have to create 5, have them, in plain language, then what would that be worth? I mean, are we saying that each one is worth? Again, I'm coming up with numbers. Don't take my word for anything. $5,000. Okay, so then, $5,000 for each one. For their time, their editing, whatever. I don't know what the going rate is, but just to kind of think about it like that also.
Or y'all can allocate some funding towards it, and then the contractor can say with that 50,000, and I'm throwing a number out there again, like Stephanie, if y'all did 50,000, with this $50,000, I can create
This many.
7 documents for y'all. So you can do it that way as well. I'm sorry, Vivian.
What kind of documents?
So these are women preventative health documents.
There's different ways to format documents, and different sorts of documents are gonna cost different things.
Right, so we don't know. Again, we're not the experts. We wouldn't be the ones that are creating them.
Include in their
Yeah,
proposal.
exactly.
Like if it's
You
good,
just tell them this is what we
like
need
if you
done.
wanted a brochure, like one thing might need a brochure where something else might need, half page.
How much do
you
they
know?
usually cost for things?
Oh,
I would say something like, again, these are my just random suggestions, okay? Don't take it for, I would probably say 40,000 at least for a creation, and it's a lot of work to put into that, and you want to make sure that whoever you have knows what they're talking about. So you don't want to put it too low. But
So
I don't know.
we have the ownership of that, right? If we,
yeah,
Yes. That was I think a recommendation from one of your
and
previous
Vivian
companies.
has her hand raised.
Okay, Vivian, please.
How long are we planning on making these brochures?
What?
Because
Oh, number
I
one.
Googled it, and for a brochure design, it's like between 200 and 1,500, but some charge like 75 to 125 an hour, so it's actually not that bad. But if you wanted different kinds of documents, that
Right.
might like cost different, and then to simplify the language would also be some additional.
And I think that's kind of what Ebony was saying, instead of looking at it the way that I was, which was like, okay, well, if we can say, okay, well, we have $40,000, $50,000, whatever the amount is to put towards this, what can you provide with that amount of money?
so let me ask this. The guy doing the website, is he capable of doing it?
Yes.
And how much he probably would charge us to add?
He's
He would be
capable of doing the plain language.
capable.
Oh, if he's
Yeah.
is he capable of doing this? I'm sorry.
He's
I
not
thought you were
a
asking
medical
something else.
professional. Like I would imagine most of your cost in this is gonna be for someone's expertise, right? We're gonna need someone that has a medical background, medical expertise to provide that information. But the guy that's currently doing stuff, if we had information that we could give him, he could put that in plain
So that's
language.
like if y'all go out and get information and really give it to him, upload it, then he can do that. But if we doing it different ourselves, then that's where the cost comes in, right?
So yeah, if you want to hire somebody to create the document.
Right.
That cost
That's
will
your
be
cost.
higher,
That's
yes.
cost, but if y'all go out and get it and say, hey, upload this like y'all doing now.
Right, if we were to contact LDH or the Office for Women's Health and Community Health and say, hey, do you guys have documents that we can have that has the information on it, and we give it to this person, he can change it into plain language for to make it more
And that
accessible.
would be cheap.
And then that would be, but then we'd have to get the flyer.
No, I feel like we should, like, I don't know how comfortable I feel with, like, taking someone's, like, another entity's material and making it in plain language. I feel like it should be someone making material for us.
Do it, then it belongs to us, but if we go out and get, then I think we'll use it for somebody else's and then turn it into. I mean, we have it in the budget, right?
You guys have $93,000 to spend.
To be fair, it's not like, at least in my mind, I don't envision they're coming up with some new research that changes the game. This is probably information that's out there.
True.
But they're gonna be able to, or my thought would be, they're gonna be able to decipher what's fact and what's fake science and what's all this other
What's
stuff.
the most important?
What's
information.
actually recommended
Right.
by OBGYNs or pediatric association or whatever the information might be about. It's gonna follow that sort of information, but they would be the screeners of what's the real information we need to be sharing. Right? So I wouldn't imagine this would just go to
So somebody will be screening it
random
regardless.
contractor.
Somebody will be screening it regardless, no matter what.
If we want them to create it, definitely.
Yeah, they're gonna be looking
Because
at
it needs to be somebody that has the expertise, so some kind of medical professional.
But I
The
think that's
more
where
the
you have to
merrier.
decide if you want, are we just gonna call LDH, hey, what have you got? And then we're gonna try to recreate those things just in more easy read type formats. Okay, that's one initiative. Another initiative would be, are you actually getting someone to, and we keep saying flyers, it's not necessarily flyers, just graphics in general, stuff to promote and push out. Printed materials, Facebook materials, I don't know, whatever they see fit.
So one way,
Be able to get the information.
one way, I know y'all.
One's cheaper than the other,
I
probably.
know y'all here looking at numbers and I ain't saying no stir, I am looking at numbers, but one way we can save in one way, but the other way we gonna spend money.
Right, so you gotta look at it, what's the pros and the cons? You just said it's really important for the council to own the materials and create your own, so that's gonna come with a cost. So are you willing to pay that cost to own it and have that be your creation?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I mean, to own something, you're gonna have to keep going back and get it, it's yours, I mean, I mean, you don't have to worry about that, you own it.
Right, so are you willing to pay I mean, cause to me, I agree with Stephanie, you guys wanna put money towards this. I would agree with her around the $40,000 range.
Yeah.
And then whenever we put out the solicitation for proposals, whoever the contractor may be, they're gonna let us know what they can do with that funding.
I think it's best though.
And then just on the funding topic, I say this at every planning committee meeting, and I haven't said it yet, I don't think. But whenever you're thinking about what activities you want to do, how much money you want to put at it, this council is notorious for trying to do a whole bunch of things as streamlined and low budget as possible. And so you look at, do you want to be okay at a whole bunch of things, or you want to do some great things, but maybe just a few things?
I've
You're not
never,
good at anything if you're trying to be good at everything, right? So just keep that in mind when y'all are hashing through all these initiatives and things that you're trying to create. Because if you really want to make systems change on some of these initiatives, you're gonna have to put money to it.
And I would just add to what Brenton is saying, this is your targeted disparity. I will add this too. We have not had a lot of success with our targeted disparity because of the way the activity has been written. It is that we have to collaborate with LDH, and that has not always been easy because right in the middle of this plan, there was an administration change. And so with that becomes different headships and leadership at LDH. So we had to deal with a new person coming in the office of women's health and community health. And so trying to get that person on the phone and get meetings to collaborate with them has been very difficult. So if we change this activity up completely, where it's not collaborating with LDH, but you guys are actually creating the things yourselves, I think that would move this and make sure that you guys have activity completed in your targeted disparity so we can report that back to the feds. It's important. Yeah. Jill, Vivian has her hand raised, and I'm not sure if Tony has his hand raised.
Okay, Vivian.
Is LDH gonna be around for like the rest of the administration or?
We haven't heard that they're eliminating LDH. So as of right now,
Okay.
yes. When we hear differently, we'll let you guys know.
I heard they're like firing federal workers, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah. So that, yeah, that's at the federal level. So it won't, it has not affected the state level. No.
Yeah, I was just thinking like chain reactions and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Which is also one of the reasons, well, not that, but
Why we need to get it done
collaborating
sooner than later.
with why we suggested removing that collaborate with, because it's just been so hard to collaborate with them. That we felt that this might be a good way to address.
Yeah, well, that and the new administration might be hard to, you know.
Tony had his hand raised.
I'm just agreeing to what she's saying because it's the best way and the best policy for us to go through with it. And I mean, yes, I mean, it's a hum kind of a ho kind of a answer. We're not totally completely sure, but Brenton pretty much said the correct words. And you too. So that's all totally a very important, critical piece of our different description, but we do need to do something about it. So, I mean, I totally agree, of course. Yes.
Okay, so it seems like the committee is in agreement with providing financial support to create your own accessible materials. So I'm gonna just try to help us move along. Are you guys thinking, because Stephanie's idea was like 45, Brenton said, you know, we might want to throw, I don't know if you were insinuating that they should put more money.
No, not at
towards
this
it.
in general. I just know you have $93,000 on the
Right.
table, and so I haven't mentioned yet about how we like to just throw pennies at a bunch of different things.
Okay.
And I was just trying to make sure you understood, you know, you could do big things.
There's
You
other
just have
things.
to have a good idea.
Yeah, and I know you brought something else up. So there was one other activity that I know Vivian wanted to address, but before we move there, Vivian, are you guys thinking around the same amount as Stephanie, about 40,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's what I was.
40?
That's what I was saying.
I mean, just-
Affordable yet reasonable.
Okay, Karen has her hand raised, Jill.
Okay, you have the floor.
I'm just thinking if we have other activities that need to consider using, so maybe we see others like right now to see hosting and then balance the.
Then balance
Yeah.
it, okay.
Well, we have plenty.
Yes, so I have and I can show it in a couple minutes. If y'all wanna see, right now we have,
93.
what did I do here?
Oh, I think it's accounted for that 40.
No, but that's not right.
Yeah. So if they do the 40, they'll have 53,000.
Right, 53. Giving me a weird number, I don't know. It.
But Vivian, were you gonna discuss 2.1.2?
Yes.
2.1.2. And I know Stephanie had some
Sorry, I'm
additional.
all over the place.
Oh, no, you're okay. Stephanie did have additional information for you guys
Yes.
on that particular activity.
Can you remind me what number it is?
It's 2.1.2.
2.1.2, thank you. So at the time that this was written, yes, okay. At the time that this was written, the staff was recommending to discontinue this activity at this capacity. So right now it just says conduct research on best practices. So, well, if you are interested in doing something with this initiative, we recommend that you contract with an outside entity that can develop an educational program specific to students. And we said students because y'all mentioned like school-aged individuals. And offer the training statewide on a voluntary basis. It can't be during school time, and then not during school time, but it can't be done in schools. Funding is gonna need to be allocated. We did a survey, we sent it out, I don't remember the date, but I think I left it open for a little over 2 or 3 weeks. I don't remember the exact amount of time. We had 51 people answer our public input survey for planning because we just wanted to see what would be the interest from the general public in an activity like this. So, I did include the results in your packets. There were a majority of parents, family members or legal guardians that responded, but there were also some professionals and some individuals with developmental disabilities, depending on what they selected. It changed the types of questions there were. So if they were an individual with a developmental disability, it specifically asked them like, how comfortable would you feel going to this training? If they were a parent or a caregiver, it asked like, as a parent or caregiver, how comfortable would you be having your teen participate in this? So, and how would you allow them to go to a training like this without a parent being present? Because I know that that was one of the conversations that was previously had, like, if excuse me, if you do it, you don't want a parent there because then they may not ask the questions or get the information that they need. So we did ask that, overall, there were, I mean, very good responses. They were positive. For the most part, parents said that they were either somewhat comfortable and very comfortable were half of the people that took the survey. For would they allow their, sorry, I was trying to find it. Would they allow their teen? There was about 2/3, so 65, about 65% said that they would allow their teens to attend this training. So that's about 2/3. And then, as a teen or a person with an intellectual disability, they said that they were kind of neutral about how comfortable they would be. I know it's an uncomfortable topic, so I understand that. But the ones that filled out the survey, they said that they would attend. There were a couple questions on here about like what kind of topics they were looking for. I will say most of them came up as like very important. So it was things like basic anatomy and physiology, puberty and sexual development, consent, healthy relationships, contraception methods, sexually transmitted infections, emotional and social aspects of sex, sexual health concerns, decision-making and responsibility, responding to peer pressure, unwanted advances, and how to talk to an adult or a parent about sex. So those were the ones that we put on there, like what is the most important? And overall, I mean, it's almost all of them said that like each and every single one of those things was most important to be talked about. So there were some things that, I mean, there was nothing on here that people were like, this isn't important. I don't think there was anything on here that, oh, you know what? Maybe STIs that had the lowest, but they still, I mean,
Yeah.
it still was kind of in the middle. The most amount of people said that it was important, like one of the most important things, but that's kind of across the board there. But yeah, so that is the information from that survey, which, like I said, we just kind of wanted to make sure that we had the information because I know it's been a topic of discussion for the past couple of years. Do we keep it on there? Do we take it off? What does that look like? So if the council wants to continue this, we're gonna have to reword this. It kind of going along with what we were saying with the other one. It wouldn't be conducting research. It would be providing financial support to provide something along those lines. And then deciding how much money to allocate for that also. And I could type that up if y'all want to see what that looks like. What am I doing? So just kind of keeping it how it like the part that was already there, just getting rid of the conduct research on best practices and then keeping the end of that. And then changing from the conduct research to the provide financial support. So it kind of mirrors the other ones that have funding. And then if there's nothing else that y'all would like to add into it, because really the topics and stuff like that would be more for when we send out the solicitation for proposals. So that way they know like what kind of things are important for those trainings, but it was more of just to kind of gauge to see if there was anything that people were like, hard no, don't, let's not talk about this at all. And just to kind of see the comfortability of everything. So looking at approximate cost, I think we said right now we have 53. Is that what we have?
If you guys go with the 40,
If you,
the 40
yes.
for the other initiative, yes.
I was a math teacher, not a spelling teacher, y'all, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're
Yeah, that's about right.
fine.
I'm a good speller.
All right. And so, I guess the last little thing that I will just say about adding funding to this is kind of like if we look at the funding amounts that we have for other training activities. So even if we look right here, right below, like for this one, the navigating the system, they're at 30,000. And that is to do those trainings. So we would need a contractor to, if they don't already have something created, they would have to create some kind of curriculum that is accessible and appropriate. And then the marketing for that as well. And any of their time and stuff. So just some things to think about when you're thinking about the funding.
Yeah.
No, I've been so busy listening and paying attention. I forgot the chair. So okay, so I have everything down. We have damn it, Jill. We have a lot of money left. Well, like whatever. And then so do we have 93,000, Ebony?
So if you guys appropriate the 40,000 for the women's preventative health with the plain language initiative, if y'all allocate 40,000 for that, you only have 53,000 left.
Hold on. Did we decide what we want to do for the women's health? Cause so now you're saying women's health. Women's.
If you allocate the 40,000 that
Okay, did we
estimating,
not agree on that yet?
I think some of the committee members wanted to discuss the other activities that might
Okay,
need funding.
so we're discussing 2.12 before we're making a decision on the women's health.
Right, I think that's what some of the committee members wanted.
All right, sorry. Okay, so what do y'all think about funding for activity 2.1.2? Oh, are y'all supposed to be on mute, Ebony?
I was just asking Brenton a question about something. I didn't want to have feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did I miss any discussion on an amount for 2.1.2?
Does the committee have, oh, Eric, do you have your hand raised? Oh, Karen?
I just try to understand, so there's two, is the last two activity we discussed, right? For the old budget.
Yes.
The first,
Unless you have more
Unless
you
you have
throw out
something
there.
else,
Yeah.
right?
that's, I think this is important, the sexual education. That's what I found. It's maybe we still need to continue. So here said discontinue, that's already there, or this just initial? It looks like we just need to take an initial, right? The activity, if we add this sexual education.
Yeah, I mean, it would change up the activity that's there. So our recommendation is to discontinue the conduct research on best practices. What's
Already
on the
wrote-
table now is to, I guess, to try to find a provider or a contractor that can actually do this training. I would imagine it would have to be someone very specialized.
So the school have that kind of education? They
I'm
know
pretty
how
sure.
to.
No.
Not
came
for the
up.
disabled.
That came up in the
So,
research.
In the research, we spoke to the Department of Education and Louisiana doesn't have like a mandate for sex ed to be taught in schools at all. It's dependent on each school district. And then each school district actually gets to pick the curriculum that's going to be taught.
Mhm.
It has to be approved by the Department of Education, but they're not required to teach it at all. So
It's even regular student.
even regular students, anybody.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of, at first it said to have it in school. We had to change how it was worded once we found out that information.
That's crazy.
It looks, we may just keep provide an option or kind of thing, right? Or otherwise if the school system can do that, it's the best way, right? For even regular student. This is school, but right now we haven't.
Yeah, if the district would do it,
Right, that'd be good,
I-
yeah.
I don't know many that are.
No.
But we have to, if we want to do something about it, we just provide this kind of option. So that
Yes.
people can assess that.
Yeah,
I would
so we would
advocate
provide it
to assess
as like hey, we're gonna have, like, they're hosting this training. If you would like to go, register. So it'd be voluntary. Anybody that would wanna go and sign up, they would be able to go.
Do you roughly have the estimate the fund would be if we do that?
No,
I mean,
we don't have an estimate. Because we were, with this survey, we were trying to even see if individuals and parents especially would allow their children to go to a training like this before the council allocated money towards this. So if we have to create a whole training and gear it towards the topics that we had in here, I'm assuming that just like with Team Dynamics, they are creating all the materials and promoting and all of that. I'm pretty sure that's gonna cost a nice amount of money.
if I had to estimate, I would say it'd probably be no less than 30. Probably, and that is bare minimum, I would think.
Yeah, I would think more than that too.
And just looking at our other training ones, they are all, I mean, our lowest one is 30,000. Vivian has her hand raised. Oh, sorry.
Vivian.
So while it's up to the districts to decide about the sex ed curriculum, even in the schools that do have the option, disabled students typically don't get that education because they're
But
not
should.
the same as regular ed, which is really weird.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this option to have it
Mhm.
has been brought up so much, like have it, it allows it to happen,
Mhm.
maybe just not at the school.
YLF has something similar
Mhm.
to a sex education thing. So we could ask Lillian or Nicole how they do it. And then we can also see how other places
We do have
it.
that.
We had
providers.
Lillian actually emailed me the person, like the company that they use.
Cool.
I
So
said that in the
you
letter.
did.
You
You did,
hate
Jill.
me.
You did. And right after that, she sent us the information. So we do
Okay.
have their contact information to contact them. I've also done some other research for other places. The problem was that I was finding when I was doing the research was that I could find the materials,
Mhm.
but I couldn't find the person to do the training. It was like we could have the materials, we could pay for them to create these materials, but then we didn't have anybody to actually put the
Yeah.
trainings
Would the
on.
people Lillian sent you do it?
I'm not sure. We have not reached out to them because at first we were just trying to see
Yeah, it's
if
worth a
anybody
shot.
wanna do it.
Mhm.
But whenever, if this is something that, y'all want to adopt, whenever we get to sending out the proposals, I can send them directly an email saying like,
Mhm.
we know that you work with them and, that kind of thing to kind of at least put it in their lane of if they are interested.
Mhm.
I was trying to dig up some information. We did something similar, but more adult focused. Healthy relationships, we talked about it, but it covered some of this type of stuff just for adults specifically. So it looks like when we initially started that project in 2018, it was about $30,000. So you're looking at 7 years ago, 30,000. So I think if, and that was done by Team Dynamics then, I think if we're looking at things they're doing for us now, we're probably in the 40s to 50s at a minimum.
Yeah.
We had another activity where we said we could pull from if necessary, right?
Yes. That one that was was it the abuse and neglect one? I think it was the one that they said, their ask was 78. I believe it was that one. So if you wanted to reduce that one to make sure that you had the funding, but right now, if
Yeah.
you can go up to 53 for this because that's the amount that we have left.
And also as a committee, you can cut money wherever you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't recommend it from other programs, but you can make a case that everyone agrees to cut some of the other activity.
I think
That's what you're here.
3 would be enough for like a start just to see. And then if we need more, we can always up it.
I saw, Jill, Eric has his hand up.
Okay, Eric.
All right, you gotta understand too, this is a very touchy situation, and a lot of people don't want to face this situation regardless, because it's they shy and they disabled and they don't know, and it's a touchy situation. A lot of people don't want to touch it. I understand that. I understand that part, but it's still touching because a lot of people, even though they probably need it, but a lot of people not willing to face it. We did this and look at this. We got a lot from this. Just knowing from this.
And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to send this survey out to see what was the interest for the public. Would they be interested in a training like this?
Right, because even to say on here, y'all got one on there, would you let your child go by themselves? And a lot of them on here said, they correct me, I would be uncomfortable, I don't wanna put words.
So
64%.
So we had 64%, which is almost 1/3. say that they are comfortable, they would allow their team to go. Whereas, I'm sorry, 2/3. I said that backwards, sorry. So we had 2/3 of people, so a majority of people said that they would allow their team to attend that trip without a parent.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. When y'all are done, I have a dumb question, cause I think I did something wrong.
Vivian, I didn't know if there was another comment, Eric, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do I need to
But-
hold on or?
I don't know. I was gonna say Vivian has her hand raised also.
Vivian, you have the floor.
Thank you. So it's because this topic is uncomfortable for some people that we need to discuss it because talking about your bodies shouldn't be uncomfortable, especially since it's a natural thing everyone goes through. Now, like discussing it in public instead of the weather would be a bit much, but that's not what we're doing here, and they need to know about this kind of stuff. They should be privy to this information too, and they shouldn't be kept in the dark about it just because they have a disability. And also, I think parents may have voted that they were uncomfortable leaving the teen alone because of that person's needs rather than the content matter itself. Because some people need that extra support and some people can't go without. But I don't know, that would be like its own question in itself.
If I may add, Ms. Jill,
Okay.
I feel the same way. I mean, yes, you want to be credible, accountable, and how she expressed with Miss Vivian sharing that, because the more you share and you care at the same point of her point that she made, it's more critical than ever to voice yourself. And going back to the talks that I shared recently, the more you do it, the more privilege you have. And all the teachers that I've known so well, this tight, is just incredible. They will back me up like nothing else. And they're public schools.
Okay.
St. Edward's is a private school where I am. So give or take, it's a total privilege for me to do that. I've yet to find out Catholic High here in town, but I'm going through the school board office with that. So, but I definitely know how you feel, Miss Viv, for how you're going through this at a gracious, prayerful time that we need to have more of these talks, no matter if it's personal or as a group. I know for me, when I do talks, it's in a group with teachers around. I don't mind doing that. I've been doing this for all my life now. So not giving up, being able to talk to you, being able to go out of my comfort zone, I don't mind. And if you want me to do something through you, Jill, and the office staff, if y'all want to do a little short video of maybe 2 videos, short ones, let me know. I'm more than willing to help. To have that as a supplement to have access to have you, Ebony, and Mr. Brenton, and maybe a few others, at least 3 or 4 at the most, and we can do something. We can make something happen.
All right.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so I think I got this survey, like when I did my research, I think I need the whole thing wrong. Like I feel like I'm in a college when I did a project and I'm like, oh, that's not the assignment. So is this survey y'all sent this out
Correct.
Yes.
for the purpose of
For the purpose of advising this committee.
Yeah.
So you guys could either make a recommendation based off the feedback that we received from the survey to the full council that yes, parents and individuals with disabilities would be interested in a training like this, or no, based off the survey that the council staff sent, nobody will be interested. But that wasn't the case. Stephanie's saying that we got a lot of positive feedback and she thinks that people will be interested in attending a training like this. So we recommend that y'all recommend to the council an activity.
okay, well, Vivian, this is your passion. So based on this survey, we're recommending 2.12.
Right.
Correct.
Okay,
With-
so now we're at how much out of this, let's say 93,000, we want to allocate to 2.12 based on this survey. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa, I thought OCDD did this. I don't, okay, we don't have time for this. All right, so in the recommendations, how much funding to allocate to this?
We have nothing else we want to do, I guess the rest of the funding we have.
So that would be 53.
Real quick. Oh,
Sounds affordable, 53.
wait. I'm confused again.
Take your time.
And my notes are all over the house. It's not funny, Ebony. Really, really the
We're
opposite
supporting you,
of
Jill.
funny, Ebony. Okay, but okay, no, I'm an idiot. I said 2.12. I wrote it funding, but this is 2.12, so we're just gonna play like that number had been. All right. So, but then don't we have funding need something for the win. Oh. Okay, did we make a funding for the women's health initiative? Y'all,
Yes, give me 1 second and I will share my
I
screen.
think I'm just behind.
So currently, for the women's health materials, you have 40,000 that was allocated, and for the sexual education, 50,000, which gives us the complete amount, which means that there's no more.
3,000.
53, what did I say? 50? I'm sorry, 53,000, which brings us to $0 remaining.
Okay.
We gotta spend it all. It's gotta be zero.
Okay, so just to make sure this isn't right, and I know nothing about nothing, so before we, okay, never mind. So
No, what you got?
what, Ebony?
I was just saying, you said never mind, but are you sure?
Yeah, cause now I have no idea. Okay, so are y'all sure? Cause I know I would have put all those to call it a day, but like, so y'all good at leaving everything. Never mind, we're good. Just making sure we have everything covered, and like we took away money where we wanted to, and then money where we wanted to, and then we're good on adding spending. I mean, I have no objection, but just making sure we're all cool with spending this $93 on these two new activities. Okay, that's cool with me. All right. Not
She just wanted to make sure everybody was in agreement for these two new activities. And the funding.
Last two.
Yes,
No.
you're non-agreement?
okay. I feel like we're missing something. Like, I did have one suggestion, but I also agree with these two very important topics. But I did have another suggestion if y'all bared with me.
Cool, what you got?
So, not every council member has been through partners. And I was thinking that maybe like we could provide to members like booklet or packet or whatever that like covers like a brief of partners. And so at least every council member would have like an overview of partners.
Are you suggesting that that be an activity, Jill?
Maybe, but not if it sounds stupid.
Well, the council got in a little bit of trouble a couple of years ago because you guys had an activity like that. I know you're not saying that they would go through the class,
Right,
but
okay,
I don't see anything wrong with us putting together like a binder similar to the binder that the partners participants receive. But I would
Okay.
not add it as an activity in your plan. I
Alright.
don't even think it meets the mandates.
okay. Then, okay,
I mean, if you are suggesting that the council staff just work with the partners coordinator, Rebecca Fruge, in creating a binder for all the council members who have not been through partners in policymaking, that's something that we can work.
binder,
Wait, what'd you say?
I want a binder.
Not just the ones that didn't go through. She wants everybody.
Oh,
to get
you
a
want
binder.
everybody, but you have a binder. Jill, you graduated from partners. I'm pretty sure Liz gave you a
Of
binder,
course,
right?
they had binders.
Oh,
Before they.
okay, gotcha. So I guess we can work with any council member that's interested in getting a partners in policy making binder, but that's something that we can do as council staff in collaboration with Rebecca Fruge, the coordinator for
Okay.
partners. I don't think that needs to be a separate activity in your plan.
Okay,
I know we just went through contractual activities. There were 3 non-contractual activities that staff had recommendations on. If y'all are done with the contractual, if you don't mind, if we just shift focus for a moment. The first one is 2.1.1. The oversee the implementation, this one, that has a lot of words in it. Our recommendation was just to change the wording. It is very wordy. And we just felt like if we just changed it to, and I will type what our recommendation is, because I think it'll just be a little bit easier than if I try to read it. I'll read it after I type it, but let me read it real quick.
And while Stephanie's typing that, Jill, I do want to add that I spoke to Rebecca about the alumni event that she is planning for the Partners in Policy Making alumni. And she is planning to invite all the council members. So it's going to be like a condensed version of Partners where she is inviting some of the national speakers that come to Partners. She is inviting them to come and do like sessions at this Partners alumni event. And she's planning to invite all the council members, every council member, even if you're not alumni. So I think that will be a good opportunity for us to create the binder that you're referring to.
yeah,
We can give that to you guys at the alumni event. And it's not scheduled until August, late August. And we'll give you guys more information about that as we receive more information about it.
So this part that's in bold, okay. This part that's in bold was the staff recommendation, just to kind of shorten this activity. It's just very wordy. It has a lot of stuff included and lots of and/ors if necessaries, that kind of stuff. So just to make it more clear of what is actually being done. So oversee the did I read it? I don't even remember. Oversee the implementation of the community and family support system plan and advocate to ensure the plan meets the needs for all Louisianians with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Yeah, the activity got bloated because it used to be multiple activities, and in years past, y'all would combine things, but you didn't want to get rid of this, that, or the other, and so it just ended up becoming this paragraph-long activity. And essentially, what you were doing is overseeing the community and family support system.
Because all of
That's
those
what you're
things
doing.
fall under that.
And
yeah.
then you're taking action on whatever you need to take based on changes in that plan that need to be made or not be made. Not all at once.
Are you
Heard
guys
that.
the changes to that particular activity? The wording, we're just changing the wording. We're not adding any money.
Right.
Yeah.
Or taking any money away.
There's no
I heard
money.
that.
Yeah.
Heard that.
There's a funding already there. or-
No, that is just more staff activity, like we do more of that activity, making sure that OCDD and all the other entities are following the community and family support plan like they should.
And
Yeah.
emailing lots of people.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of what the can does gets reported in this area.
Yep,
Because that's where a lot of your advocacy for home and community-based falls.
yes.
Okay, and then the next one is actually like kind of two. It's 3.1.1 and 3.1.2. I will tell you, because these are two that I report on. So these two activities, I put like the same information in both of them. They seem to be very similar. So instead of having like two separate ones, I kind of combine them to include both. I'll type out like the staff suggestion for it, and then we could discuss it, or if y'all don't want to change it, that's fine also. So I kind of took a little bit from both of these, I'll show it in a second, but this one is advocate for increased focus and capacity within the Louisiana Department of Education to address special ed, including specific areas and issues. And the other one was to advocate for the Louisiana Department of Education to perform the ongoing monitoring to ensure compliance. So I included kind of this increased focus here. Which I took from the first one and just kind of added it into that second one. Because advocating for that increased focus and monitoring and ongoing monitoring. But if y'all don't agree or you want to change the wording, that's fine, but can you let me know what it means? Because I don't really know what it means. Like I'm saying, I'm kind of putting the same information in both of those activities when I'm writing the status report. So if I just have a clearer idea of what distinguishes them from each other.
If they don't want to change it.
If you don't want to change
Okay.
it, yes. If you don't want to change it, I just need a little bit more guidance on
Mhm.
what exactly you're looking for with those two activities. If you do want to change it, then it'll just be in one spot.
Okay.
How are
I
you doing
like
with the
the idea of combining. Oh, on the
Huh.
chair.
Okay. You like the idea you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear you. I want to make sure.
So I have one tiny protest about it.
Sure. What you got?
With the new administration, special education laws are privy to change. So do we want to outline what exactly we mean by special education laws? Just in case they make something that could be harmful towards our community law, just as like a countermeasure.
I guess what's your recommendation for the change?
Do you want to be obnoxious and outline all of the laws and policies?
Oh, you're saying all education laws, like education laws?
No, like special ed. The new administration's not fond of it, as we all know.
Mhm.
And this says to ensure compliance of all special education laws and policies, but that is subject to change with the new administration. Like they're probably going to change some stuff and make harmful laws. And we don't want to ensure compliance with any potentially harmful laws, if that's making much sense.
Oh, I
So
see
how do
what
we
you're saying.
differentiate
Okay.
between our current laws and the future laws they want to make?
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
So would adding something at the end, this is just something I thought of, it might be wrong. Just adding something saying ensure compliance of all special education laws and policies that aligned with council views or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that like,
Yeah.
because I get what you're
that's better.
saying.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause
Makes it more.
I don't know if they'll make law
at
like
ease.
trying to ban us from
Yeah.
education or not. Or like something else.
Or I can say that'll,
With the council's amendment.
positions papers, or maybe
Maybe,
have a position paper on it,
Yeah.
or.
maybe with the council's admission and, I might say education position, but I don't know if that's right.
You just scroll it up.
Like this?
Well, just when the caption is on.
I didn't know if y'all wanted to see what it said before. Sorry, that's why I had it like that. Here we go. This is what the new one will say. I'm not sure. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I do.
So,
Cool.
Brenton, do you have any
Yeah.
suggestions?
That seems fine.
Are you okay with that? Vivian, does that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically,
It specifies
anything
it more.
education advocacy you're doing just
Right.
falls into that.
Yeah.
It's just very broad.
That and then our mission's
to
kind of
capture.
already outlined by federal law,
Mhm.
so it's hard to
Exactly.
change that.
Mhm.
so I'm just going back to just get rid of like striking this one through. Because then we're gonna rewrite this. I'll change the numbers later because this will be the new number one,
Mhm.
okay? I just don't wanna keep us, for
Yeah.
going through all that
Right.
part. So I'll change those numbers later. So that was the last thing that I had to talk about. We should review the draft. And then public comment, that is what the agenda says, unless there are anything that y'all need to, or want to discuss further. I'm just trying to keep us on time, because we caught up a little bit now. Jill?
What?
I was just saying, did you want to, I edited that one. Did we want to move on to just the next thing, which is to review the draft? We can look, I can show you the budget
Yes.
another time, review the draft of this action plan, and then take public comment, and then we'll need the motion to recommend.
Okay.
Okay, so just to show y'all, here is our budget. If there's anything that needs to be updated or changed, let me know. Please note, I'm gonna highlight these. This one was updated. This one was updated. And this one was updated. So those three are continuing. They were updated. Their funding was updated. And then down here, we have the two new contractual activities with their funding, which leaves us with no additional funds, like we don't have anything left over. Or is there any questions about the budget? Do we still have a quorum? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just making sure. Okay, and then I'm going to pull up the action plan. And I'm gonna start at the beginning. Sorry if I make somebody sick by going so quickly. Okay. Let's see. So for activity 1.1.1, I just updated that cost. Activity 1.1.2, it's just because I'm putting FFY 26, the money didn't change. Again, the money didn't change for 1.1.3. Just changing it so it says 26, not 25. 1.1.5 was changed, so removing the funding and then rewriting it to say produce and provide information important to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families through a variety of electronic and social media. So council website, Facebook, and LADDC news. And I know I'm going kind of quick, so if y'all need me to slow down, please let me know. I'm just updating the date on 1.1.7 so that it's the correct fiscal year. 1.1.8 is changing the activity to read provide financial support and technical assistance to educate and train individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, caregivers, and families on abuse, neglect, and exploitation, with an increase in their approximate cost for 2026 to be $78,000. I'm changing activity 1.2.1. Sure. Give me 1 second. I'm changing 1.2.1, decreasing it by 2,000. So to have the 23,000, and that was for people first. I'm rewriting activity 2.1.1 to shorten it to just say oversee the implementation of the community and family support system plan and advocate to ensure the plan meets the needs for all Louisianians with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then rewriting activity 2.1.2 and assigning or allocating funds to it. 53. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. 53,000.
I didn't think you had it. I'm
sorry. No, I do. Just forgot what I was doing for a sec. Provide financial support to provide appropriate, accessible sex education to middle and high school aged people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then just changing the date for this one. So that one's just a date change. And then removing the FASD activities. So those are strike through right here. rewriting objective 2.3.1 to provide financial support to create and promote accessible educational materials on women's preventative health topics with the approximate cost of $40,000. And then combining activity 3.1.1 and 3.1.2. So those two are striked through with the new one reading advocate for the Louisiana Department of Education to perform ongoing monitoring and increased focus of local school districts to ensure compliance of all special education laws and policies that align with the council's mission. And then lastly, the activity 3.1.5, which changes the approximate cost to an increase at $58,000. Okay, so if everything looks good in the review, Jill, you can open it up for public comment.
Okay, so, do we have any public comment? Okay, well then, the next thing is we have to vote on approving this, plan. So Stephanie, will you take a roll?
Oh, wait, okay, hold on.
We gotta
We gotta get
make
a motion first. Hold
Yeah.
on.
Tony.
Tony, you want a motion?
I'd love to.
Okay, so. I don't do this one, all right.
TEK.
TEK.
I got the I.
Oh, sorry, okay. I was like, I
It's
knew
okay.
that was not right.
I love
Thank
you anyway.
Thank you. All right, Tony, to motion to,
It's really to send these the recommended FY
motion
26.
to recommend to. Do I say the draft?
Yeah, I would say the draft, yeah. Full council approval
Consideration? I don't
and
know.
approval, yeah.
I second.
Thanks, Miss Bev.
Seconds, okay, and then, okay, so I have to do a roll call vote.
But you want to take public comment first?
Oh, I'm
No, we
sorry.
did it, but before any vote.
Public comment? Sorry, thank you.
If you want, you can just recheck the last name of mine. It's just underlined in red.
Okay, that's fine. When I finish the final version, it won't be there.
No problemo.
No hands raised.
No hands, okay.
Okay,
So,
so now we will call for the motion. It's made and seconded, and there are no public comments, so now we will have a roll call vote.
Okay.
Stephanie?
So a vote for yes is to recommend to send the draft of the FY 2026 action plan to the full council for consideration and approval. Vote for no is to not send it. So Christy Gonzalez, Tony Piontek. I'm sorry, I need you to tell me. You have to say it out loud.
QNY.
Let's do it.
Oh, you say yes or no, Tony, to the vote?
Yes,
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
you're
Eric,
welcome.
Yes.
Eric Taylor, yes. Vivian Webb,
Yes.
Vivian Webb, yes. Renata Washington. And then Karen Sue.
Yes.
Yes, Karen Sue, yes.
Do I pass Joe too?
No, I didn't think
Unless
so.
you needed a
No,
tiebreaker.
okay, I didn't think so, just wanted to make sure. All right, Jill, you have 4 yeses.
Okay, so the motion passes with 48 to 0 nays and no abstentions. So, okay, any public comment or any announcements?
The only announcement that I have is that the quarterly meeting is coming up. April 30th and May 1st. And that will be at the library on Blue Bonnet. We hope to see y'all there.
April 30th to what?
April 30th and May 1st, Tony.
Thank you very, very much for that.
Okay, so with, we can adjourn by unanimous consent. All right, thank y'all, everyone.
Thank you, Jill. It's
Thank you,
4:05.
You're welcome.
All right, oh, it's 4 o'clock, I adjourned the meeting.
All right, thank you, bye.
Bye.